Scientists meeting in Brussels have issued their strongest warning yet that global warming is threatening to dramatically change the Earth's climate. The UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or IPCC, is releasing the second part of its report on the subject today. The panel struggled late through the night to agree on the text, but in the final draft, delegates warn that some developing countries may need to spend as much as 10% of their gross domestic product to cope with lower crop yields, water shortages and other negative impacts of global warming.
Delegates from around the world negotiated behind closed doors late into the night. Whatever their differences, though, the UN panel's report is the bleakest warning yet on climate change. It predicts failing crops, hunger in Africa, species extinction and rising sea levels. You don't have to travel far from Brussels to see what many scientists consider to be the impact of global warming. A year of drought in the south of France has left the river Calavon as good as dry. This serves to highlight the argument that climate change is no longer a vague, distant threat.
In the past, the river ran low every 10 years or so when it rained very little. Since 1997, it's been happening every year.
Global warming is leaving its mark in Germany too. Wine growers have had to plant entire new grape varieties. As the weather becomes too warm for traditional types, vintners like Matthias Koch are forced to grow Nebbiolo instead of Riesling.
It's so dry here that red wine varieties will deal better with the quality of the earth than the Riesling.
The report warns that it's developing countries that are likely to suffer the most. Water shortages will affect billions of people, and some African nations may have to spend a large chunk of their GDP on adapting to climate change. In Southeast Asia, rising sea levels are set to have a catastrophic effect on many areas. The IPCC's report highlights that developing countries are suffering because of mistakes made by the industrialized nations.